In today's world, we are more connected than ever. Emails, social media, notifications, and endless scrolling have become a big part of our daily lives. But at what costs, I ask? The constant digital overload affects our productivity, mental health, and even our relationships. Welcome to the Rhizome Podcast. Today we are looking into an important conversation, what we have titled Digital Detox, and why we need it and how to do it. And I'm your host, Toritseju Omagbemi, and happy and thrilled to explore this topic with you today. And on the podcast today, we have Susan, and Susan is a project manager with 10 years plus experience helping teams work better, smarter, um, with streamlined systems, processes, and also achieving meaningful outcomes. And of course, Susan is also my coach. Welcome, Susan, to the Rhizome
Thank
Podcast.
you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. We also have Ugochukwu on the call. Ugochukwu is People and Organization Solutions, or rather, is the People and Organization Solutions Manager at Rhizome Consulting. So, Ugochukwu, great to have you on the call as well.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
All right, Ugochukwu, thank you, and it's great that you're here with us. So we go straight into the conversation. I would think that anyone listening to this would have a feel, certainly a perspective on how, our digital space is impacting them, perhaps professionally, perhaps even in their personal lives. So I think it's good to start with a very simple question. And the question would be, when was the last time you completely unplugged from your digital devices, even if it's for a few hours? I mean, if this has not happened for the last 20 years, it's okay to say so. It's okay to be honest. So, Susan, please be honest. Tell me. Let's go with
Uh,
Susan first. When was the last
I,
time?
I have to confess, I'm really bad at this.
Uh-huh.
Um, my team and I went to Ilashe Beach last weekend for a retreat, and I carried the laptop.
Mm.
Why? What is this behavior?
To the beach.
What is this behavior?
Uh,
But I do try to have my mornings gadget free. So I
mm.
have like reading time and strategy time about 1 or 2 hours in the mornings without my phone, without my laptop. So I do need to do more, but yes,
Mhm.
that's as much as I can do for now.
I don't know if to say this is a great start to the podcast or otherwise. Susan taking her laptop to the beach. I mean, I am trying to I'm trying to make I'm trying to make something of that. But I think I'll be very optimistic and I'll say
Yeah.
a great start to the conversation. I think it sets a tone for some of the things that we are dealing with, people taking their laptops to the beach. Um, I would also confess I take my laptop to church. Okay. Ugochukwu. What about you? Have you tried to unplug lately? I mean, when was the last time you tried this? If you have.
I mean, how can anyone take their laptop to the beach? An- Anyway, well, in fact, that's something very, very sometimes impossible to do. But one of the best way I find myself doing it is when I have to probably have my kids share the internet with me, and that has to be attached to my phone. So when they are doing their coding classes, I intentionally just leave the phone for them to do their stuff, and then I'm gone for like 2 hours, and that happens every Saturday evening, I think. Apart from that, it will be night, it will be bedtime.
I mean, bedtime, we're all supposed to be sleeping, isn't it? Um, so give us a sense of how long is that usually? I mean, what are we talking about? Yeah, 1 hour of time off Saturdays, 2 hours, three. What exactly is that?
Saturdays, 2 hours.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, and that's the only time it happens all week, isn't it?
Yes, that seems to be the trend.
Okay, that's somewhat. I don't want to pick on Susan again. I was going to say that's somewhat a progress compared to Susan, who takes a laptop to the beach. Okay, that's not a jab on you, Susan. So again, let's stay wearing our very honest cap, right?
Yeah.
Um, Susan, have you tried? I know that you take your laptop to the beach. Have you
It's
tried?
worse. It's worse. It's worse than that.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
there was there was this trip to it's Chiang Mai in
Mm,
Thailand
mm,
last year, October,
mm,
and I was at the top of the mountains, breathtaking views, like
mm.
streams and carry a book, go sit by the river and you know, just be one with nature. And that turned out to be, just not it didn't go as well as I planned.
Mm.
Clients were still emailing, I was still responding,
Oh,
people
wow.
were still asking for impromptu meetings, I was still responding. In fact, when I saw these questions, I was like, oh my God, they're calling me out. They're calling me out.
I, 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 I will try to restrain myself. I'm not going to pick on you again. So I mean, so if you if so you're saying to us that you did try to really stay away um from all your devices,
I
from
had
social
planned a
media.
trip to a
Yeah,
remote area,
yeah,
and still I was looking
and
for
oh
internet
wow,
to be able to
wow,
connect and do work.
wow, wow. Okay. So I mean, we hear a lot about digital burnouts. So
Yeah.
Ugo, let's just go to Ugo and then we'll come back to Susan. So Ugo, from your perspective, how does constant connectivity impact our mental health? Perhaps from a personal experience, but otherwise from just how you see the impact of constant connectivity on mental health. Over to you, Go.
Okay, thank you, Toju. I mean, it's a lot of it, I must say, and we will share the same experience. A couple of times we find ourselves just scrolling, 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 and then before you know it, it's an hour, it's 2 hours.
Mm,
And majorly, when you come back from that time of screen exposure, something just happens to you. It's either you tired or exhausted out of the images and all of that you have been consuming,
mm,
and if I could extend it to, although this doesn't happen to me, but I feel that maybe there are some people already dealing with that. So it could affect if self-image and self-esteem, because when you see your peers, so the fake life, so to say, or the posture some people seems to put out there to say, okay, I'm the best among my peers, I'm doing so well for myself and all of that. That could not make, not me though, but certain kind of people not feel very good or better about themselves.
mm.
And so you have self-image, esteem, and then there are also, yeah, the issue with, if because you don't sleep well,
Right.
if you don't get better sleep, yes, there's something that happens to your brain. So research has found that the brain releases a chemical called melatonin, to help you relax and just drift off and just sleep. But when you can't do that when you are constantly on the screen, and all of that, so you find it that it's a bit draining, and especially when you do that before bedtime, so your brain doesn't release that chemical on time. Rather, it stays active and then sleep is delayed. And then the night rest is not really rest as it should be. You know, all of this just comes together and you're looking sad in the morning. Before you know it, anxiety, you're anxious, and all of
Right.
that. All of this tied to it, in my own opinion.
Thank you very much, Ugo. I mean, you started touching on the broad spectrum of productivity, and how this is impacted by, spending long hours on our devices, and on social media platforms. But Susan, so let's talk a bit more about how this pretty much impacts our productivity. But again, let's look at it from the lens of a very common practice that we call multitasking. Um, it's funny because I think that one of the in quote coping mechanism that people have come up with to say, look, I'll multitask. Perhaps I'll be seeing a movie on um, Netflix on Showmax, by the side whilst I prepare that document. I saw a company advertise a gadget that you can attach. So it's sort of like a phone holder, but you can attach it to the side of your computer screen. So it extends your phone to either the left or the right. I mean, that gives you more power for more distraction, in my opinion. So, do you think what's your opinion about the practice of multitasking making us less effective at work? What do you think?
I completely agree that multitasking is killing our productivity. I know that there are some people that think they're great at it. Um, but I would differentiate between compartmentalization and multitasking. And I'll give a little explanation. So if you have 15 things to do at once, you cannot be thinking about those 15 things at that moment. Like you can switch task, and even that task switching in itself is another brain power that you're using up, because by the time and energy it takes your brain to switch thoughts from making a decision on one matter to making a decision on a completely different matter
Mm,
is a lot of brain power. But if you're now trying to do multiple things at the same time, what's going to happen is that you're going to come up with poor quality of work. You might think that you're delivering, but you would deliver so much better if you just took out the time to patiently focus on one thing, close it out, and then switch to the next task.
What a very this is shaking some tables, to be honest. Because I know that there are quite a number of us who pride ourselves with multitasking. I think that's something we need to really be mindful of, coming out from some of what you have now shared with us. So I go back to it is now clear that people struggle with setting boundaries when it comes to technology. Ugo, are there any hacks, any realistic steps that you like to share with us to jumpstart or perhaps even start from ground zero, a digital detox without feeling completely cut off? Over to you, Go.
Okay, thank you, Toju. One of the things that I try to do, first of all, is to track how much time one spends on the screen. And I mean the screen now, I'm talking about not the laptop, of course. We know we use the laptop to do a lot of work, but the other digital devices that we use. And if you're someone who is very conscious about what you do with time, you would know that, oh, why should I be spending 1 hour just doing this? So the first realistic step is to say, okay, you know what? This is how much time I want to spend on maybe on this app or the other app on social media. And then of course, there are apps now that are able to help you track or even limit we're talking about boundaries now, or even just just set limits to how much you spend on whatever app. So that's one thing that can be done. And then what I'd also try to do is, of course, some people go to bed, just their data is on, their phone is on, but I just switch off the phone. I don't want any calls. I don't want any beeping, any notification, and all of that. So that can be tried also before bedtime. And then we could turn off notifications. If you notice, every time that whether it's a WhatsApp or Facebook badge just pops up on on your screen, your eyes tend to go there.
Mm.
All right. So if you must leave the notification on, then just turn over the phone. Let the screen be, turn it over so that your eyes are not, it's not always, looking at the screen. So you can stop up, put off those pop-up notifications. Then this might be extreme, but not for some of us. You can even uninstall some apps.
Mm.
I
Especially if
completely
you know,
agree. It's needed.
yes, you can. There was a time last year I told you I
Mm.
had to, I had to uninstall X, and
Mm.
I've not restored it back
Wow.
because I just noticed that I just go and I'm gone.
Wow.
you know, you know, this is a build up from the last political season.
Mm.
You are following conversation, you are on this X and the other X, and you are just trying to. So I'm very sincere with you. I don't have X on my phone till today
Mm.
because I know what it does to me. So these are a few things that we can do.
Thank you, Go. I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures. Ugo has tagged the last proposal, the last option as extreme, but I think if that's what you have to do
Yeah.
to save yourself, I mean, you should do it, to be honest. If it means taking out the app completely, um, getting off the platform completely, if that's what the solution is for you, I don't see any reason why um you shouldn't go for it. So I'll come back to Susan now. Perhaps we'll go my way in, should he want to on this as well. So let's talk a bit of how organizational policies may possibly play a role here. Um, So I don't know, Susan, spanning your career, have you had the experience of any company-wide digital detox initiative? Anywhere you've worked before where they implemented something to help people manage screen time and the number of hours they're spending, on their gadgets and as well as social media? Any at all?
Mm, So I have been a part of several organizations that have made it a point to talk to their employees about managing the load of the technological load of having to, reach out messages, emails, documents, screen time, and you would have organizations that, have notifications on their computers saying, oh, it's time to stretch, take a stretch break, walk around. You
Mm,
can't access this computer again for the next, how many minutes, right? So some organizations take those steps. And I think that even for organizations that don't go as far, it's important that the culture of time away from screen is is accepted. Now, there are some organizations that they won't tell you that you should be available round the clock, but they also didn't tell you that it's okay for you not to be available. I'll say
mm,
it again. Now, it's not enough to just say, don't people should know they are adults, they are not babies. You are responsible for yourself. You should know that you balance your time. You're only working 40 hours a week or you're only working
mm,
8 hours a day. You should be able to manage that time. It's not enough to just say that, okay, working hours is working hours and people are going to respond to you during working hours, you still need to set the expectation
Mm.
that it is fine for people to respond when they come back to their
Right.
screen. That they're not expected to respond immediately just because you sent them an email. And so for and this works especially for global teams that are, spanning across different time zones.
Right.
And somebody in my own time, it's 4 p.m. or it's 3 p.m. But in somebody else's time, it's 4 a.m. You can't expect that this person is supposed to respond to you immediately. And if that expectation is not set, people might feel guilt, or they might feel like they need to, there's a bit of pressure to respond immediately. And that's, adds to that burden. So setting expectations for, oh, please be respectful of everybody's time. Know that, someone is not they're going to work between this hour and this hour. And beyond that, don't try to contact them. And if you do contact them, expect that they're not going to respond immediately.
Thank you, Susan. And to think that the way we work now in terms of how our team are dispersed across the world, this is forming um, the core of our job, having teams, different time zones, even different culture, different perception, and I think this is very important because um, it's not enough, like you've said, to say, look, you only respond, during work hours on one hand, and on the other, you are sending, this is urgent after work hours. So
Yeah.
I think we must, so sort of, and I think everyone has a responsibility, but more so leadership,
Yeah.
setting the tone, setting the example, and providing that safe haven, that psychological safety for people to be able to unplug, for people to
Yes.
be able to unplug and feel safe. So when you close your laptop and say, look, this is off work hours, you're not thinking whatever comes, I'll take it. You're thinking management is in support.
Yeah.
Organizational culture is in support of me doing this. In fact, they'll probably frown at me not doing this. I think that's the place where every corporate organization should be. Now, that said, um, I mean, we can almost agree on this call that it's very difficult to completely move away, from our devices, right?
Yeah.
So Susan, although you took your laptop to the beach, right? And what would you say to someone who is struggling? They're struggling, right? And what would you say would be like the one thing you would advise they try to aim at achieving that will perhaps have a ripple positive effect on completely having separate spaces for or controlling their digital appetite overall?
Okay. One thing that helps me is I plan my day beforehand. So
Mm,
I plan my day the day before. I make sure I set up all my meetings, and
mhm,
I mean, as early as possible, a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, but the very night before, I need to know all the meetings I'm having so I can batch my time. I can say, okay, this time is focus time, and I put it on my calendar that this time is not to be disturbed because, I have focus time. So anybody else that has access to my calendar can see that I'm blocked off, during those hours.
mm,
And that helps me to maintain sort of a balance,
mm.
if I can say so. In amidst the chaos, there's a
Yeah.
little bit of balance. It's not to say, it's just like relationship with food. It's not to say, oh, I'm never going to take anything sweet ever again.
Mm,
It's like, okay, are you making out the time to actually eat the right things and,
mhm,
all the other ones, and then you wouldn't feel the need so much for the sweets. So it's the same thing. I'm still going to scroll on social media, but now I have a time allocated for it,
mhm.
you know. So I'm on the treadmill, I'm scrolling. I don't feel bad because you know, but if I just let things be without planning, I will definitely have a moment of weakness sometime and, fall back into just responding to whatever fire is coming at me and then try to resolve everything at once.
All right, great tips. Very coming out from Susan's experience, so very practicable, right? Thank you, Susan, for sharing those. Ugo, what are your thoughts? This is Friday, right? For anyone, I'm not sure when they will be listening. So, but we are. This is Friday for us, so it's safe to actually think about the weekend. So perhaps for anyone that want to try a weekend-long digital detox challenge, for instance, what advice would you give to them to make this a success? Over.
Okay, I think the first thing is to share it with someone, have an accountability partner. Tell this person, okay, this is what I'm trying to do this weekend, and I want you to hold me accountable. In other words, do it with a friend, or a family member, or someone who knows that, okay, you are trying to achieve this over the weekend. That's a very practical thing. Every time you are tempted to relapse, you remember that, oh, so what am I going to tell this person? I've shared that, okay, this is what I want to do this weekend. So that's that. And then to be able to motivate you to pull through the weekend, because I mean, weekend is when you should just stay with the phone, and just with a drink somewhere and just be scrolling.
Right.
Is to set a reward for your weekend detox, digital detox challenge. So say to yourself, okay, if I'm able to cross these 2 days of the weekend without, so relapsing into a long time of scrolling and not being able to account for time, I will buy myself this, or I will take myself out. It doesn't have to be big thing. It doesn't have to be something you spend your money on, but just celebrate it. Celebrate that win that, oh, I was able to go through the weekend and I didn't have to consume the whole of the weekend with just scrolling or hanging out on the social media and the likes of that. They are very just too little advice. Do it with a friend. Set a reward for it. Reward yourself for it.
Wow. Do it with a friend and set a reward or reward yourself for it. Those are very profound words, and I think that's a good note to actually draw the curtain on this conversation. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you, Ugochukwu, for your time on the Rhizome Podcast, for sharing all your insights, your experiences, and all the digital detox failures you've had, just to bring this to life.
Sorry, is it too late to add? Is it too late to add one more tip?
No. You have the floor. Absolutely. Please go on.
Okay, thank you. So I feel like if we just say let's have a weekend detox and we've not planned activity to fill that time, we might end up relapsing. Yes. But if I mean you're going to maybe the beach without your laptop or you're going to like a garden, you're going for a picnic, you're reading a novel, you're journaling, you have something, or you're out with friends, or you have a gathering and say no phones gathering. If you plan an activity where you know that activity does not involve gadgets at all, then it will be easy for you to be able to have a weekend detox. That was the last one. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad that I allowed the last one because it was very good. There are no vacuums. I think that's what Susan is saying in essence. There are no vacuums. So if you plan a weekend digital detox, don't leave spaces. Otherwise, those things you are running away from will fill them. So fill those spaces deliberately with activities that are structured and strategic enough to take you away from your screen and from your devices altogether. So today's conversation reminds us that while technology is a powerful tool, we must be intentional about how we use it. Taking time to unplug can boost our productivity, of course, can also improve our mental health, overall well-being, as well as even strengthen our relationships. So if you've enjoyed today's discussion, be sure to subscribe and share this episode with someone who could use a digital detox. But until next time, take a break from your screens and stay present. Thank you. Bye from now.